Hi guys, I'm Junhan. So for today's video, I'm going to share my ownership experience with the new 2024 Proton S70. So it won't be a review, I'll just share my personal opinion. What is it like living with this car for a week, the good, the bad, and everything else in between. Let's go. So let's start with the pros. Number one would be the looks itself. I know this is a controversial thing. Some people like it, some people don't. But for me, I personally love it a lot. The way it looks, right? So this car, it's a B segment car, but from the shape of it, right, the size, the way, how long it is, right, it actually looks more like a C segment car. It's like a saloon. Yeah, they actually did it very well, make it more like a C segment car. So if you don't know it's a B segment, you would think that this is a C segment because it looks huge from the outside. Okay, the second thing would be the color itself. This color, in my opinion, is the nicest color for the S70. I know some people don't like it because it's green, it's very bold. Normally you go for the safe colors like black or white, right? For the black, you can only get it from the flagship X variant, which is the high spec, which is very funny because normally black and white you can choose for any other spec, right? But for this car, you can't choose black unless you opt for the full spec variant. So if you want to get black color, you like black color, then no choice, you have to pay 95,000 for the full spec one. But for me, I love this color so much. It's a dark metallic green color. It's called teal bayou green, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it looks very, very good. You know, a car looks very good is when you park the car somewhere else and you always look back, and sometimes you can't help but to take photos of it. This car, wherever I park, right, I just keep taking photos of it. The reflection it gives off, right, especially when the sun is shining on it, you park somewhere else, you can see all the reflection. Yeah, it looks absolutely stunning. Now, another thing that actually surprised me, right, is the amount of attention that this car has gotten. Okay, normally only supercar would get this kind of attention. I wouldn't expect a Proton to get it, but the S70, they got so much attention. When I go to petrol station, people will actually come up to me and ask me what car is this. Then I explain to them, I show them inside, and they'll be like, wow, I didn't know Proton actually made this car, because this car is actually not a lot on the road right now because it's still quite new. So they explain all the features. They were so shocked and so surprised. For the price point you're paying for, you get so many things which I'll get into shortly. So that's another pros of this car. So yeah, I park wherever and then I show them the light show at the back, on the front. They ask, is it aftermarket? When I told them it's original, they'd be like, wait, what? Yeah, that's a nice thing about this car, the amount of attention it gets. Now moving on to another pro would be the driving experience for this car. I actually got surprised as well because this car is powered by a 1.5 litre turbocharged 3-cylinder engine. Now 3-cylinder, this one, a lot of people will be like, they quickly judge and say that, are you 3-cylinder only? The car sure very noisy, sure vibrates a lot. But surprisingly, this car hides it very, very well. When you're driving at very high speed, right? When you're cruising at very high speed, you actually can't hear the engine noise, which is surprising because a lot of people say 3-cylinder engine is very noisy, right? But it's weird. I can't hear anything from this car. The only thing you can hear when you're traveling at high speed, right, is the tire noise and also wind noise. That's the only two on the engine. You can't hear it at all, which is very, very good. So that's one. And second, right, because this car only weighs 1,300 kgs and it has 226 Newton meters of torque, right? This car, I only driven it in sport mode, right? It literally, whoever I fetched inside, right, all of them got shocked of how good this car is in terms of the acceleration and pickup. You know, it almost feels like an electric car. Whenever you accelerate, right, you get the pushback feel which you wouldn't expect in a Proton with this price. Yeah, it's very, very nice. That is why I kept it on sport mode only, because yeah, whenever you want the acceleration, you just press, it just goes. Yeah, it's very, very powerful because of the amount of torque it has, and also it's quite light, so it gives you that instantaneous torque kind of feel, yeah, which is very, very lovely. So that's one. The second thing would be the suspension for this car. I got so surprised because normally when I go to work and back, right, I actually go through a lot of potholes, uneven surfaces, road surfaces, and normally I'll try to avoid it because it's actually quite painful for my car to go through it. For this car, nope, you just go. You just go through all the holes you want. You can't feel a thing. You can, but it's not much. It's car, it soaks up bumps really, really well, which I got surprised as well. And another thing would be the handling of this car. So this car, right, the steering wheel, right, when you turn left and right, The feeling is very direct and very responsive. I don't know why, but it just feels like BMW or Mercedes kind of feeling. The way when you turn a bit, right, it actually moves already and it's very light. And if you feel it's very light, you just turn on sport mode, it actually makes the steering wheel heavier. So yeah, it's very nice, it's very balanced, it's very easy to drive. Like you turn the steering wheel left and right, it's very effortlessly. At the same time, it's very direct, which is always very nice. So this car also is actually very comfortable because the seats are very plush, very soft, it's very spacious inside. Everything inside, it looks so good, so premium. Okay, and the back seat as well, I actually fetched my friends, my family before, and everyone who sat behind, right, they say it's so comfortable. You can fit 3 person comfortably at the back, and what more, you have 2 aircon vents at the back, you also have charging port at the back. Yeah, it's more than enough for the price point you're paying for. Everything inside, it just works so well. And in addition to that, you also get a sunroof, which you can actually open it using the voice command. Now the voice command on this car actually works exceptionally well because this one is catered more to like Malaysian slang. So if you normally talk like hi Proton, open sunroof, or hi Proton, open all the windows, it basically does it very instantaneously, very quickly. And then you say hi Proton, close all the windows, it straight away closes. Yeah, which is very lovely. So you can actually talk to this car, which that one also actually surprised a lot of people as well of how good this car is in terms of the voice recognition. And another pros of this car would be the amount of features that this car has. So this car, the amount of features, you literally have everything in this car. Everything you can think about, all is inside here. So all the safety features like blind spot monitoring, lane departure warning, adaptive cruise control. Now the adaptive cruise control in this car also works very well, especially during traffic jams, right? You just put, after that, when you see the car slowing down, it stops to 0. When the car in front moves, it moves again. Yeah, so you don't have to press the brake and accelerate, which is very, very nice. And it's very easy to use as well. And then the 360 camera on this car. So this car has 360 camera. You have one on the front, one at the back, and 2 on the side mirrors here. So it's the resolution and quality of the cameras, right, is way better than the Honda or Toyota. It's so clear. Yeah, everyone who sat inside also say like, wow, so clear. And this one, the screen, the infotainment screen is I think it's larger than the City and Vios as well. So it's larger, it's clearer, and also the infotainment screen, you can actually do so many things. You can actually play around. There are a lot of things you can actually configure. Same goes for the instrumental cluster as well. Both are digital, and it looks really, really good at night as well. You got the built-in navigation system, which we rarely use, but I tried using it. It's actually not too bad, and it's very clear as well. Another thing of this car would be the boot space of this car. The amount of things you can put inside, right, it's unbelievable because it's very high up inside and it goes all the way inside. You can actually put a lot of things. Now I work in a tire shop, so I can fit 3 lorry tires inside. Can you imagine that? Because some other cars I tried, actually you can't, maximum can fit 2. This car can fit 3 inside, so it's very spacious. It's more than enough for your daily needs. So this car basically ticks almost every boxes. And the surprising thing is this car only costs under 100,000 depending on the spec you choose from. Now talking about the spec itself, so there are 4 different variants to choose from. You got the executive, you got a premium, you got a flagship, and you got a flagship X. Alright, so the base spec starts from around 75,000. Okay, but that one you don't have a lot of things, safety features you don't have, the animation lights also, all those you don't have. So what I would suggest is to go for the flagship variant. This is the flagship X. So this one costs 95,000. The flagship costs you 90,000, but the difference between the flagship and the flagship X, right, will be 3 things. Number 1 would be the sunroof. So the flagship doesn't have the sunroof. The flagship X has the sunroof, which I feel is not necessary. The second one would be black color paint, which I explained earlier. If you want black color, then you have to go for the top spec variant. If not, then you don't need. And the third, if I'm not mistaken, is the body kit of this car. So this one maybe can go elsewhere and add the body kit afterwards. But one thing that surprised me of this car, right, is that I've actually seen this car on the road in other colors like grey or white without the body kit. It actually looks like a normal car. It doesn't look that sporty like this car. For this car, with this color and with the body kit, so it comes with the front lip, the side skirt, the rear bumper, and also the spoiler at the back, it actually changes the overall look of the car and makes the car look much more premium, which is why I always keep saying the spec on this car is just so lovely, and I can't help to keep taking photos of this car. Okay, so that's the pros of this car. Now let's talk about the cons for this car. Firstly, I wouldn't really say it's a con, but it's something you have to get used to. It would be the gear selector. When you want to shift from reverse to drive, right, you have to push it down twice. Normally on cars, you can just push it down hard, then it goes from reverse straight away to D, or you push it up, vice versa, you straight away go to reverse. This one, whenever you want to shift from reverse to drive, it needs to go to neutral first. So you have to push it down twice or push it up twice. Something you have to get used to it. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now the second one would be the brand itself. Now this one, a lot of people nowadays, they still have the mindset that Honda is nicer when you say you drive a Honda or you drive a Toyota, right? But for me, I feel personally that one doesn't matter much, because Proton, I would actually be proud to drive a Proton, because nowadays Proton is very different from last time. You know, last time people think, Proton is just a normal car, but now it's totally different now. Like I said, the things that this car offers, right? Yeah, it's way better than the Honda or Toyota. And it offers so much more as well. Okay, but that actually depends up to you guys. Alright, for me, batch doesn't really matter. And the third bad thing about this car, which I haven't experienced it yet because this is only my 1 week ownership with this car, so later I'm not sure. So I heard from the comments from you guys saying that this car, parts availability, if something were to go wrong, how, everything. Actually, this car, right, the Proton is actually very reliable, because I heard a few of my friends who own a Proton, right, X50, X70, they're actually very, very reliable. It's just that if there was something to go wrong, right, it takes quite some time for parts to arrive. Not for everything, but only for some parts. Yeah. But behind the scenes, Proton is actually working very hard to actually improve on that area in terms of part availability, in terms of the back end, because nowadays with more models coming out and more units, right, they're trying the best to improve that area. So don't worry, in the future, I would believe that the parts availability issue will be resolved. So fingers crossed. Alright, and yeah, that's about it guys, my 1 week ownership with this car. Now I'm actually quite sad to return the keys to Proton. Normally I wouldn't, I would just return it back. Okay, it's nice to drive. But for this car, I actually don't want to give the keys back, because after this shooting, I'm actually sending it back to the Proton HQ, which I'm quite sad because this car looks so good, especially at my house right here now with the lighting inside the garage. Yeah, maybe I would buy this car in the future, who knows? Alright, so yeah, I hope you guys find it informative. If you do, please remember to like, subscribe, and share with friends, and I shall catch you guys next time.